need to. So.
Is it something you don't want to tell us what it is because it's that entertaining to start?
Well, I don't know that it's super entertaining, and it's certainly not going to be every time, I think. Um, but I just sort of had an idea based on episode number that we'll work with.
Okay, because we're not at 69 yet.
No, definitely not. That episode will have a whole show based on episode number.
Whenever I answer the phone, I'm like, hello.
What pissed you off?
It's a great argument to have.
I love my mom, but I think she's half crazy for doing that.
How dare you?
Do you work with your girlfriend, Mark? Or your wife?
I keep them separated. Sometimes I call people, they don't answer the phone, I'm like, them.
Wrong number, click.
Well, he's not that smart. But sometimes he sounds like he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Go.
Therefore, you're an ass, and I don't want to talk to you anymore.
Yeah, but what do we know?
Well, one thing that I really disliked at first was the selfie stick, and I thought it was the stupidest thing because you have this nice background, you have the person, and then you have this like metal rod like in the middle of the shot, and I thought, why the hell would anybody buy this stupid product? It makes it look really like crap.
People love
And
the
then-
selfie stick.
Well, if you know how to
People are
use the
super
selfie
vain.
stick right, you can actually have an incredible shot without having that little metal stick. And it's basically like, oh, it's not the selfie stick that's bad. It's the stupid idiots that don't know how to use them. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But have you ever seen selfie sticks in real life?
Yeah.
Like,
actually,
I mean,
they're
going
really
out to
popular.
like concerts and all you see is like 15 fucking sticks in the air and everybody's
Well,
like, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, we also have people with like, you go to a concert and everybody has their iPhones recording the damn concert. So that's also something that people would gripe about.
It's so funny because have you ever recorded like a concert?
Yeah, probably.
I've recorded parts of a concert.
Have you really watched them ever after you recorded it that one time?
No.
See, yeah,
No.
and nor have I, and I've recorded as well. I've been in a place and I've been so excited. I'm like, yeah, check it out, and then I'm like, I've never done anything with this again.
The audio is absolutely horrible.
Yep.
Usually the video is just as bad, if not worse.
It's so like it's such a pointless task to do, and everybody does it. I've done it, and I thought I was cool for doing it. Like the time I was like, I'm Miles Davis, bitches.
Well, one thing that I always do is whenever I explore a cavern, like I go into a cave and you're
You
traversing
explore
this
one
dark
thing?
area. Yeah, you're trying to take as many pictures as you can. You're like, oh, this looks really cool. This looks really cool. And then you look at it when you get back to your house, and you're just like, it looks like a wall. And it looks like the exact same wall. Like I can't. Everything looks like because there's no depth in a cave. So when you take a picture of a rock formation, it just looks like a flat.
Like, look at this beautiful rock formation and all its depth and glory. Like,
Well, I mean, have you ever gone into caves like Mammoth Cave in the U.S. or anywhere else? Like they're pretty cool to go into, but
Yeah,
for pictures.
I've been to a handful of caves, and I kind of know what you're talking about. Like, it's totally lost, when you're trying to take pictures of the whole situation.
yeah, pictures. I wish things were more like, what was that movie with Robin Williams called Cutter? Where everybody had like, or not everybody, but certain people had the this implant put in at birth that recorded video and audio of everything that they always saw, and his whole job was to take their life and make a funeral montage out of it, essentially. Like he got the audio and video from it. I think that's the only true way that like photo booking or scrapbooking or whatever that people do. That's the only real way it works, because I don't want to spend the time to take the pictures and do stuff. All my pictures on Facebook are pictures that I tag from other people's timelines, because I don't put any pictures up on there.
Well, number one, I don't know that movie you're talking about, but I feel like
that sounds super cool.
It was
I was going to say
very
I feel like I
entertaining.
need to look into it.
I'll look into it while you're talking.
However, like as far as the scrapbook stuff goes, like maybe that's like more of a parent kind of thing.
Yeah.
my wife was never like a super photogenic kind of person until our kids came along. And now Jacob has like this 20-page, scrapbook photo album kind of thing where, when we were dating, like there's very limited photo evidence that we were even, had a courtship going on for 5 years.
But I mean, let's be honest. You did that on purpose. You didn't want people to know. It's all on the DL.
But once the kids came along, all of a sudden there's all these photos and memorabilia of everything we did with them in their first several years.
But the movie, by the way, is called The Final Cut.
The Final Cut.
Yeah.
And it is with Robin Williams.
Yeah,
right?
Robin Williams is the main actor or the main character in this video, and he's kind of like a shut-in who basically took this life, and basically the point of the movie is not that he does this. It's the fact that he does this by making horrible people's lives look good at their funeral, essentially, because he sees every aspect of, everything that they've ever done wrong, he can watch because it's all there in evidence.
Right.
It's got a twist ending and everything like that. So
it's kind of like that weird version of that Kevin Hart movie where he's like the best man at everyone's wedding, except it's a weird, dark funeral version of the ending.
I've never seen that Kevin Hart movie. I've seen the previews for it though, so I guess that
I haven't seen it either, but
yeah, the purpose is he's trying to make this dude look awesome. Yeah,
at his wedding.
Yeah. Essentially, it's that.
There's another movie with Robin Williams where he's like
there's a couple more
photo guy
with Robin Williams.
No, I mean like he's the photo guy at like some Walmart or something. 24
1 hour
photo.
How's it called? What did it used to call it when you could take your film in and get it back in an hour? Like you pay that extra fee.
Wasn't that Kevin Spacey though? Not.
No, I'm pretty sure it was Robin Williams. I think.
No, that was Robin Williams, and I remember it was such a weird film.
Oh, you know what? I'm thinking American Beauty.
American Beauty was definitely Kevin Spacey. I've now messed up my microphone, by the way. It keeps just like sagging on me. Sorry, it's a flaccid microphone. 1 hour photo. 1 hour.
1 hour photo. Wasn't that Kevin Spacey too?
No.
1 hour.
Unless he did another film named the same.
Robin Williams.
Robin Williams. Yeah. It was such a dark movie. Actually, the last couple of Robin Williams movies were pretty dark, and then he committed suicide. So
they were like that. What Dreams May Come or whatever was a super dark.
I actually forgot for a minute that Robin Williams committed suicide.
Yeah, and it was like right after a movie where it was about his son, which was like his son was a horrible person, and then he basically made a suicide note for his son saying, like, I did this because how poorly I was treated, and everyone hails this son as this great person. And then he, at the end of the movie, he's just like, yeah, you know what? I just made all this stuff up. My son's a really horrible, horrible human being. But it was just like really sad and depressing. And it's about suicide. And then like a couple of months later, I watched this movie a couple of months later, and then he commits suicide. And I'm just thinking, it's just...
Well, and it's not even just that movie. Like when you think back to some of the biggest movies you remember him in, like I brought up What Dreams May Come. Like he was this super just distraught, husband who couldn't deal with the passing of his wife. So he was willing to literally go through hell to try to get her back. And then the Good Will Hunting, where he's the psychiatrist who understands like the whole dark side of life, where he's trying to bring this guy like. Dead Poet Society. He's this like misunderstood, professor where like every movie he's ever done, basically when you really look back on his career was like he was kind of
because I think of him as like a comedian because he has like, Mork and Mindy and Mrs. Doubtfire, but besides Mrs. Doubtfire, it's very few movies that I think I watch the movie and I think, well, this is a hilarious film.
Dude, Death to Smoochie, brilliant, like on all fronts.
It is brilliant.
So dark and
really
so
dark
funny.
comedy.
It's like that movie had a mix of everything. Whereas another little known Robin Williams movie. What's the one where he's in Alaska with Al Pacino?
I don't know.
What? Oh, come on. Mark, I think you're the one who told me about this movie in the first place.
Al Pacino.
Al Pacino is a detective.
Yeah. Oh man. And it's like
Maybe you
daylight
told
all
me
the
about
time.
it. Right. Maybe you told me about it, Mike.
And Al Pacino's having trouble sleeping the whole time. Like,
Right. Insomnia.
oh, insomnia, is that what it is?
Yeah, that seems to be what it's called.
Yeah.
And Robin Williams is like this murderer that's living in Alaska, and Al Pacino basically goes to try to find out like who the murderer is. And early in the movie, so I'm not giving away too much. Early in the movie, finds out it's Robin Williams, and then it's like a cat and mouse game with
He has to
them.
prove it.
And Al Pacino can't like sleep because it's 24 hours of daylight, like at the time that he's there, and he's like going, it's insomnia, and he's going crazy like during the movie. It was a really good movie.
Yeah, so it's really weird, like thinking back on Robin Williams' career when you think about like all his like heavy hitting roles were these sort of roles that had this dark element, to them. Sort
The
of thing.
genie from Aladdin was the darkest guy ever.
Actually, sort of kind of related, on NPR the other day, I was listening to what is that show called?
What do we know?
No, Fresh
Wait,
Take,
don't tell me.
I can't remember. But anyways, they had on Mark Ronson, who's for those of you familiar with American music, Uptown Funk is just about as big of a hit as you can get on the top 40 right now. Is Bruno Mars singing and Mark Ronson is the producer. Well, Mark Ronson has produced all kinds of very popular musicians in the past, decade, 5 to 10 years, something like that. And one of his hits was of course I'm losing her name right now. The girl who is like the lounge singer sounding Amy Winehouse, who killed herself on alcohol or drugs or whatever it was. He produced her. And the Rehab song that was like her sort of big anthem that everyone sort of related to her after she passed. He talked about how that was sort of a conversation that she had with someone close to her about how they thought she should go to rehab. And Mark Ronson was actually the one that said, no. And they turned that into a hook that made that, big song for her. That, what was it, a year and a half later or whatever, she was dead in a hotel room or whatever it was.
It's a shame, too. She probably should have said yes.
Yeah, she definitely should have. She had an amazing voice, but...
That is why she should not have committed suicide, that amazing voice. The only reason.
No, it's not that, but definitely, like, that sort of voice does it for me. Like, that sort of lounge singer, bluesy kind of voice. I love that kind of thing. But they even talked about it sort of on this show where it's like, they ask him, did you get a sense that she was somebody who really needed help at this point? And he was like, no. That's sort of the music industry, is everybody's sort of like that. So he didn't foresee her having more trouble than anyone else who's in the music industry.
That I don't believe, because, there was concerts where she was, like, so wasted that she couldn't even like do it was almost like people would go to the show to see how messed up she was at the concert. I remember distinctly, even before she died, like they were talking about how horrible she was in concert, and like she like would go onto the stage and like would pass out during the middle of the show.
You can make that joke about most American musicians. I shouldn't say most American musicians, but a lot of them. I would say half.
Mark, you were there with me when we saw Jimmy's Chicken Shack.
Yeah.
How drunk were those guys? And the show was so ridiculous. Like we didn't.
Well, yeah, but no one passed out like in the middle of the show.
No, the lead singer almost got himself kicked out by the bouncer by like making a scene, jumping off the stage and making a scene, throwing beer everywhere, and the bouncer thought he was just some random guy there at the concert for a minute in the middle of the show.
Right.
we would have gone back and seen him the next day though, because it was amazing. Like, it was,
Maybe. It was an amazing show though, but I don't know if half the concert is basically canceled, that because let's say instead of being wild and crazy, they just fell asleep.
I guess that's true because that actually extended this concert. Like, didn't they play for like 3 hours or something like that?
It went
on
on
stage?
and
'Cause
on.
He was so drunk he wouldn't stop. Like, he just kept going.
I don't know. It's been a running joke with like the Rolling Stones and stuff like that, where Keith Richards is just high every show he's ever done in his career. Well, that's expanded 60 years at this point, So
Mm. Yeah.
Oh, the life of a musician. It sounds wonderful.
I don't know. It's got to be tough. Actually, I mean, I guess it's maybe not quite as equatable, but I have a buddy who not too long ago accepted a position as like an outside salesman for southeastern United States. So he's constantly going from Georgia to Florida to South Carolina to North Carolina to Tennessee to Kentucky to, Texas to Alabama to all these places. He's just literally all over the map all week long. They're actually still working on selling their house up here in Michigan. So he's gone all week, just all over the place and, traveling. He's constantly at hotel rooms. And, he told me, he's like, think about it. If you're in a hotel room in BFE, South Carolina on Tuesday night, and you have a meeting, on a Wednesday morning, what do you do with yourself for the 15 hours before, from the time you arrive at the hotel till the time you got to be at this meeting? You sit at a bar restaurant by yourself and you have a few beers and watch Sports Center, and that's your life. Is you're literally from bouncing from one hotel to the next, waiting on a meeting, the next morning. You're lonely by yourself, and you're just, there's nothing you can do. And so think about a rock star's life where you equate all these people who are telling you how great you are all the time, all these women who are willing to do whatever they want, whatever you want them to do from all the
It's
time.
gotta be
Like,
it sounds so hard. All that money and all those women and having everybody say how great you are. It's a tough life.
I mean,
I'm sure there's
and all they're doing is sitting there and they're saying, man, if all these women weren't throwing themselves at me, I could just be sitting at a random bar drinking beer watching Sports Center. Like, that guy has it made. Like, that's what's going through their mind.
I guess if you're a single guy and, I don't know. It sounds like a super shallow.
No, it'd be rough. I got a job offer for traveling 4 days a week to help do some installs for some medical technology type stuff, and it paid a lot of money, but I couldn't justify taking it because it was just like, really, I'm going to be gone 4 days a week. That's not including when I fly to and from like whatever random place they're going to be sending me to this week. I was like, I don't know, I don't want that. I like to do things, but at the same time, I still want a home that I can come back to at night. Like,
Right, and well, that should speak volumes to you because you are, you have a girlfriend and a fairly long time girlfriend at this point. But the buddy I'm talking about is married with a child.
Yeah,
and
that would be. I don't know if I could ever do it once I have like a child. Like,
yeah,
that's
he's
off the
on
table
road
at that point in
5
my
days.
mind.
He's literally home. He comes in Friday night and leaves, Sunday evening or Monday morning, and is gone all week long from his kid. So,
Oh.
and that situation is going to change. Like, their home in Michigan is on the market, and they're just waiting to sell it. In fact, he just told me today that they have an offer, and they're probably going to take it, just so they can get down to Atlanta. But it's, I don't know, it's a difficult situation traveling all the time.
I think our buddy JP did something similar to that when he was in
Well, he's in the
Nevada.
military, so that's
Yeah, he was out of the military, but he was in a private contract with the military that required him to go to like Area 51 or some like secret location, and they would fly him to that location.
But he just
and
did
he
it.
would be there for several days.
No, he just did it daily. They flew him every
Flew in?
single day to where his remote location he had to be. He said sometimes he would miss the flight out because they would only did like certain like flights during the day, that he would miss the flight out and have to spend the night there, but he didn't make that the regular. Maybe once a week.
Really? Oh.
Yeah. That
Well,
wouldn't
by
be
the-
that wouldn't be too bad, especially if like you're in a government gig like that. You're getting paid from the time you're on that plane. Like when you're doing these contracting gigs, like Mike's talking about, the dude's
Yeah.
not getting paid from Sunday night through Saturday morning when he gets home. He's getting paid like Monday
Well,
through Friday. He just
That's not really true. Like he gets paid, well, and especially like if he decides to drive to wherever he's going, he gets paid mileage. So,
mileage, but not hours. I mean, it's not like, oh, it's going to be an 8-hour drive, so therefore I get 8 hours worth of pay if we're driving in the car.
Yeah.
I mean, that's true, but if he goes somewhere and makes a big sale, it's like, this is well worth
Wow.
whatever time he spent, driving or.
Only if he gets commission. I mean, if he doesn't get commission, is it really worth it to him? Possible future promotion?
Well, it could be just salary, just getting paid in general.
True. I mean, but that's where
Right.
companies get you, is you work so hard for the possibility of future promotion. I mean, how many people, especially salary gigs, like that's where it gets really difficult, is when you take a salary position and you put in way more than 40 hours a week because of the fact that that's what your job is. And some people are doing that because they hope for future promotion, that it's going to all work out in the end. I mean, that's where companies get you. It's like they make you their bitch. That's why I envy the man who can, or woman, whoever it may be, who can be like, I took this salary gig and now I only work 20 hours a week because it doesn't matter.
Or, actually this day and age, even if you can find a salary gig that works you 40 or 45 hours, because most people I know who are making good money are working, way more than that. I mean, working Saturday at this point, in the U.S. is like nothing.
Well, I'm in a strange position because I'm teaching, but because I teach at two schools, and then I'm also teaching at different like grade 2A, grade 2B, grade 2C. I'm like reusing the same lesson plan.
I mean, wait,
So
I don't know what grade 2A, B, and C are.
I mean,
is it like
like,
if you're in
there's-
grade 2B, do you automatically have a B average? Like,
as in there's like so many students that they split the students into groups.
oh, okay.
So, like,
So it's just
the
all
school
the
has-
same.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm teaching basically the same lesson to this group of students, to these group of students, over and over again. So it makes my planning for classes really easy, right? Because I'm just teaching the same class over and over again. And for whatever reason, this year, my schools haven't been giving me as many classes to do. So on average, so far, I've been teaching between 2 to 3 classes a day. And then the rest of the time I have free for prep work. So I'm basically like 3 months in, finished with prep work. And I'm working 40 hours a day, but it's like really I'm
That's a
working.
lot of time in a day.
But then I'm just really working 20 hours, even less than that. And I actually really hate it because it's one of those jobs that you have to look busy. So I can't like be scrolling the internet or whatever. So I've been doing my lesson plans, but like I'm almost like halfway done with the year with lesson plans. And
This just in, the What Do We Know podcast is going to start going twice a week, once with just Mark broadcasting from his school.
yeah.
He's just live streaming. He's like, guys, this is how you make a lesson plan. Like,
Well, you should see like
Done with
Uh,
his lesson plan.
well, I do a lot of my lessons using a smart screen board, and they have a touch board, right? So I make my lesson plans with PowerPoint, but it's like now I'm getting to like sort of ridiculous stuff that I could do with PowerPoint just because I've been messing around with it so much. So I have like Wheel of Fortune games where you could like touch the screen and have it interact, and now I like during a presentation you can like click on items and move them around like while the presentation's still going. So it's strange how much I know about PowerPoint now.
So do you just like, do you sit in a room with a bunch of people, or is it your
Yeah,
own office?
teacher's room. So just like a whole bunch of empty desks, and usually the principal sitting right there watching.
So what is that? You know, it's funny because the principal probably has his own podcast, and he's like, I don't know what to do. I sit in my office and do nothing for 7 hours a day, looking busy. Like, wish these teachers would stop working so hard. So I could...
Well, the thing is, so like for me, I'm got so much time, and I'm not working hard really. And I talked to some of my coworkers. No, seriously, some of my new coworkers that are working for the first time. They're like, I gotta go home and like work on, to like prepare for classes. I'm thinking, what are you doing? Like, like
what did
you
you
should
do,
have
what
so
did you
much.
do your first year though? Because I can imagine it'd be hard. That's a hard gig to break into because just understanding. I used to read right before you went over to Korea. I used to
Right.
read a lot of those blogs that you would send me. And one guy's, I can't remember what. Sorry, I can't remember what it was called, but it was super interesting, and it was like 2 years worth of his life that he blogged quite regularly. And at the beginning, he talked about how much time he spent making lessons plans. And then I remember one blog that he had like 6 months into his thing, and he was like, lessons plans are just like basically they're recycled from before and just updated because now I've
Right.
got the system down on what I need to do.
That's
Well,
true. I
and
mean,
I can't speak for Mark, but I know my wife is being a music teacher. You know, she just broke into teaching a couple years back or whatever, and it's the same kind of situation. With her, like it's a little, well, I don't know, maybe your situation is kind of the same, I guess, but she's in a private school where she's, you know, kindergarten through 12th grade. Um, so there's a lot of different situations as far as teaching. She's a music teacher that she's put in based on grade level, but it's starting to get to the point where, you know, based on grade level, she already has lesson plans kind of wrote out for that grade level. And yes, you know, sometimes there's a class that is going to exceed what she already has planned out. But for the most part, she already has all these lessons planned out based on grade level. And she's getting to the point where she's super comfortable, you know, doing what she's doing, just implementing year after year, sort of the same thing.
and then one of the goals is after you get, pretty comfortable and everything set up is how do I tweak it to make it better for not just, this in particular class, but for all classes or for these particular students. So you mean you still have work and stuff, but
Right. Right. And you have to fine tune it because sometimes you have students that go above and beyond what, you know, your previous students did or whatever. But
So
but I think it's also
I was just gonna ask why they give you so few classes.
I don't know. Like
Because
that's what I'm.
are they paying you per class or are they?
They're paying me for just the day, and I think it's weird too because I'm actually really bored at work, and like if they were like, "Oh, Mark, why don't you do this too?" Okay, I'm fine with it. I prefer working not like 6 classes a day, which would be the maximum, which I have done before, but like about 4 classes. Then that way I got some time in between to set up for my next class,
plan. Yeah.
and then the day is actually not dragging on each and every day.
Right.
So
So you're like American manufacturing kind of thing where they give you X amount of work, which only takes 5.5 hours, but they pay you for a 8-hour day.
and it's I think it's just probably like scheduling conflicts with the school or something, but yeah, it just seems weird that they wouldn't have me do more classes. But I guess it would also have to be like, well, then these teachers they don't do classes while you're teaching, so I don't know.
It's funny.
Oh,
Kids
by
in
the
Japan
way, I'm
go
teaching
to
in Japan, so I thought it'd be appropriate that I drink this during the show.
Oh, Hello
This
Kitty's
is a
blood.
This
Hello
is
Kitty.
Hello Kitty cocktail. It's in reverse. Hello Kitty cocktail flavor, and it has a nice 0.00% alcohol.
Tastes like
Ooh.
cat urine.
Yeah, maybe. I actually haven't ever had this yet, so I don't know what it tastes like.
What? Wait a minute. Wait. I have a question. Why does it say alcohol percentage 0.00? Like I feel like milk could have that same label on it, and
Right, but
so why would you
it's
go out of your way to put that on there?
well, it says cocktail on the can, so maybe people would think, this
So is
might be
that
an
like a
alcoholic drink.
virgin version of like an alcoholic beverage that already exists?
Yeah, it actually tastes just sort of like a sweet soda, like a Fanta or something like that. But yeah, I guess this is something that you would mix in with, like, let's say, vodka or something like that. So, Hello Kitty sponsored, margarita mix, kind of ish.
Cat pee,
Okay.
virgin cat pee.
So, anyways, just a reminder of viewers, I am in Japan.
I don't think anyone's forgot.
I mean, it's good that they put that on there, though, because based on how
Weird.
much time you have off at work, you might just turn into a raging Hello Kitty alcoholic if you bought the non 0% ones. Just
Well-
sitting there, what's up, principal? It's got my other Hello Kitty cocktail here.
I have had alcohol at work. Sometimes, like, they'll do really weird things. Like, they brought rum cake one day, and they just gave everyone like the little tiny slice of rum cake during school hours, and I just thought it was really weird because it was really strong rum inside this cake. It's like, dang. The reason why this says 0.00 alcohol is also Japan has a zero alcohol tolerance while driving, and you can buy a lot of alcohol flavored beverages that have 0% alcohol in them. So, like, if you want to have a beer, but you don't want the alcohol, Japan has you covered.
It's drinking and driving without the problems of drinking and driving.
Yeah, and I think also Japan, I'm not 100% sure, has they don't have an open intox law, so you could drive while other people are drinking alcohol.
I think we've talked about that before, actually, because I am a giant complainer about why I can't drive home and drink a beer, and because if I'm leaving work and I know I'm going straight home, why can I not have a beer? Because there is a 0% chance that my alcohol level will be above the legal limit by the time I get home.
No, Mike. If your can doesn't say 0.00 on it, there's not a 0% chance.
Right.
Well, I'm a big dude, and if I drink one beer that's 4.5% alcohol and I finish it as I'm pulling into my driveway, 0% chance I'm over the limit when I get home.
Well, it's weird. What's weird about the whole thing is that Japan also has like this strange culture that believes that it's sort of rude to eat and drink while walking. So they're like, oh, you should sit down and enjoy whatever you're eating or drinking. So, you could drive around and have people drinking in the background, but like if you're walking, drinking a non-alcoholic drink, they'll sort of frown upon it.
I can imagine like
Weird.
marathons, like people run for a long time, and then they're like, hold on, I need a sip. They have to sit down on a bench in a park, like set up a little picnic, take a little
yeah.
sip of water to rehydrate, pack the picnic back up.
Well, and again, that kind of goes hand in hand with like the whole weird situation we have going on in America. Like, if the people in my passenger seat want to drink alcohol, why is that not okay? I don't understand that either.
I mean, I'm with you. The passengers should be able to drink, and they can on like buses and limousines and
Party
things like
buses,
That.
yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
as long it's supposed
Is
to
it
be.
really though?
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was actual legal and if just
Yeah, it's fine.
fraternity just
Yeah.
did it.
No, it really makes no sense because you can't in a normal passenger vehicle, but all of a sudden if you extend the passenger vehicle out, there's ways that it's legal that you
It's,
can do it.
yeah,
And it's not a separated cab or anything like that. It's just like
right.
I don't get the law on that.
I don't either.
Have
Great.
you ever drank in a public vehicle, and not like a party
No.
bus or whatever, but you're riding a bus, a Greyhound or something like that.
Oh, like that type of public vehicle? I would drank on the Amtrak train. We snuck some alcohol on there, and like we were drinking on the way back from New York to DC.
Can you order alcohol?
You
on-
could. That's the funny thing is, yes, you can actually order alcohol, but you're not allowed to bring your own.
Well,
I've
it's like
drank.
food at
I-
a movie theater.
You kind of dismissed like drinking on a party bus, However, the party bus that I drank on was literally like a small bus that was purchased from like a school
Yeah,
system.
like a short bus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, essentially that's what it was. So you have 100% access to the driver. Like, I mean, if I wanted to pass the driver a drink, there was no stopping me,
Right. No,
no
no.
border, whatever. Um, However, all the alcohol we wanted on board in the back was fine.
Right.
And we just, we listened to a lot of music, and what it was my stepsister's birthday, and we took it from Flint to Detroit, down to like Royal Oak, and there's this 80s bar down there. So we drank the whole way down. In the back, again, there is zero barrier between us and the driver.
Right.
But we drank down there, we drank at the bar, and we drank all the way home, and that's fine. I don't understand the differentiation between, that scenario and having someone in my back seat drinking a beer.
Yeah, I don't get it either. It makes absolutely zero sense to me. I honestly think it has to do with a chauffeur's license. I think the
Maybe.
chauffeur's license, because I wonder, does that mean if I, like, I don't know anything about this, so it could be completely wrong, but if I get a chauffeur's license, could I drive my SUV and have somebody in the back seat with a beer? Is that now allowed because I have this license? Because that's the only thing I
Maybe.
can see is different.
Well,
Good.
when you drive a limousine, people can drink in the back, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
And that's partly because they have a divider.
No, because you can do it in a short bus as well.
So if you do it like let's say you're
But to
driving
drive a
around in
limousine,
truck,
you do need a
a
chauffeur's
truck.
license. That's the common thread I'm seeing here.
yeah.
So if you drove around in a truck and you had people in the back, actually I don't know if that's legal, just to have people in the back of your truck bed. But let's say you had people in the back of your truck bed drinking alcohol.
Could you do it that way? I don't know.
If you had a chauffeur's license and an SUV, like Jeff was talking about, maybe.
I mean, I drive an ambulance. Can my patients drink? I mean, is that
Well,
allowed?
probably some of them already had beforehand.
Oh, but I've definitely been in the back of a car when I've drank beforehand as well. Sometimes
Right.
not coherent in the back of the car.
Right. Well, I guess I've never drank in the situation, but like they have the whole Uber situation now, and I've used that a couple times where I used Uber for the specific, situation where I shouldn't be driving.
Right.
And I guess I'm not drinking in the back seat, so it's a little bit different scenario, but.
The ironic thing is this is all statewide as well, because like
Yeah.
Louisiana, you're allowed to. You can passengers in the car can drink in Louisiana. I mean, that was one of the things I loved about.
Should be.
Yeah, that was one of the things I loved about when I got to Cancun. We went to Cancun with my fraternity house, and the first thing you do is you jump on a car that you're going to your resort with, and the guy's selling beer because you're allowed to just sit there and drink all the beer you want on the way over to the resort.
Yeah, I mean, to me, and again, I think we've done a podcast about this before, so I don't want to get too much into it, but you have to put responsibility on the person driving the vehicle at some point, to manage the people who are in his car.
I mean, do you think this is sort of like a push by MAD to lower drinking and driving, or do you think this is more like police departments trying to figure out another way to get more money?
I just think
For
it's
revenue.
old laws that don't really make sense. I think it probably fits into that category.
Right. I could not agree more because, I mean, we keep talking about the marijuana laws in this country. Why is marijuana illegal?
It's not here anymore.
Somebody give me
Is
a
it?
good
Nope, DC is
Give
it's
me-
legal.
No,
Abs-
give me a good reason why any state in the U.S. smoking marijuana is illegal at this point if drinking alcohol is fine.
Or smoking cigarettes. Like, that's the thing I find
Yeah.
funny is it's like, oh, cigarettes, those are fine. Marijuana, that's illegal. Like, I understand why you want to make drugs illegal, like from a medical standpoint or whatnot, but why would you allow something like cigarettes and tobacco and alcohol if you're going to be like marijuana is a no-no?
Right.
Like,
I
it's
mean,
dumb.
if you look back on why marijuana is illegal in the first place, I literally it's illegal because they thought it made black people kill white people. Like, I mean, seriously, that's why it's illegal. There is zero reason it is illegal in nowadays America, where alcohol is legal, smoking cigarettes is legal, but you can't
Well,
smoke marijuana. There's zero reason why
I can give you a
marijuana
reason,
is
but it's
worse
not a
than
good
liquor.
reason.
What's that?
Is it
I can give
money?
you a reason, but it's not a good reason.
Money?
Yeah, large money's being spent on incarcerating Americans, which is more than the rest of the world.
However,
So,
However, even when you talk about right now, Colorado, which was the first to legalize marijuana, is making money hand over fist because they've legalized it. So
right,
the
but it's
whole
not.
rest of the nation has a blueprint to make money on this stuff.
But I mean, what I mean by money is not the state. I'm talking about like, private whatever companies, like whoever runs the prison system. They're probably paying politicians tons of money to let's have harsh criminal laws against marijuana, so they can have people go to their jails.
See, I don't think. I think
So it's all,
I think the prison systems are so full at this point that they don't want a reason to have more people in them.
oh no, like it's just full to capacity, right? Or past capacity.
Way
But that's
past.
more profit. If you have twice as many people in a jail cell than it's supposed to hold, and you charge the same amount, you're making twice as much profit.
I don't know if you call it charging the same amount when you're dealing with jail, but
Well, I mean, I think it costs a heck of a lot to have someone stay in jail.
I'm sure it does.
And a lot of prison systems are now privatized, so whoever runs those prison systems are getting paid to have prisoners. So it's in their best interest to have, let's
As
say,
many
marijuana illegal.
Yeah.
Because, like, weapon, if you stop having a lot of people thrown in jail,
See,
then all these private companies would lose.
I don't think the percentage
their
of
customers.
prisoners related to marijuana charges is high enough to justify that argument.
It's
I
huge.
think so. I
For
think it's
marijuana? Who goes to jail
Yeah.
for marijuana?
In
It's
fact,
not. Oh,
didn't we talk about that on this podcast before, where the percentage of Americans locked up is like
I know
ridiculously
that I agree with, but I don't think it's
A
because
good-
of marijuana related charges.
a good chunk of that is drug use.
yeah,
drug
it's drug
use,
use.
maybe.
Yes.
Marijuana,
And marijuana.
specifically.
Marijuana is
Well,
most of
actually,
that.
actually,
no.
Oh
no,
yeah,
no, I
No.
can actually prove
People
it
don't
right.
go to jail for that. They give them a big fine.
all the
No.
time.
Jeff, California has a three strikes law. So if you are actually found in possession with, let's say, any kind of illegal substance, which is cannabis is one, then you automatically get 25 years in prison. So that would be a really
I would like to see a
good
statistic
example.
on how many people have gotten 25 years because they got hit with marijuana 3 times.
or I mean, it could be like
Well,
whatever law, like you get hit with this, and marijuana was one of them.
25 years is a drastic case, but like in the state of Michigan, you can have a fairly small amount of marijuana on you and be popped for distribution, like amount with intent to distribute.
Yeah.
Like it's not a very large amount at all that you have to get caught with to get that charge.
See, this whole thing is going to change soon enough anyway because
It should.
it's you got, DC's now in the mix of the legalization of marijuana.
And
That's-
Obama wants it legal. I mean,
Well, I think Chris Christie
start.
said that if he's president, he would make it so it's the federal government would push to make, even if it's legalized in that state, that they would still come in and reach in and make it a federal, use the federal crime
who said that?
to let people. Chris Christie.
Is that Chris Christie's running platform? Legalize
Well,
marijuana.
Chris Christie probably doesn't have a chance at this point, right?
Unless he legalizes hookers as well.
No, he wants to make it so it's like the federal government makes marijuana stay illegal.
Oh, stay illegal.
Yeah,
Well,
so like the opposite of what all the states are doing right now, where they're making it legal.
Is he-
And Chris Christie's going to say it doesn't matter if the states make it legal. It's a federal crime, so they would go to jail still.
Does he want cocaine to be legalized? Because he's on something all the time. Like, he's got to want something to be legalized.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that he's probably.
Chris Christie did himself in with that whole bridge debacle.
Bridgegate.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say necessarily that. I mean, I don't know who. Okay, I don't want to get too much.
He's the one
but
that
yeah.
made the comment about why would what do he say? I have pussy at home. Why would I want to eat out somewhere else? That was him, right?
No, that
No.
was the Toronto Mayo.
Yeah, that was
Mayor, sorry.
Damn it! I was
Yeah.
thinking it was him.
yeah. What is, oh man, it's driving me nuts. He's my favorite politician ever. It's the Toronto guy. It's definitely the mayor of Toronto.
Right,
Toronto.
or ex-mayor now.
It must have just happened around the same time that Bridgegate did, huh?
Who looks
Yeah.
like Chris Farley.
Yeah, he does. He looks a lot like Chris Farley.
Ford?
Rob Ford. Rob Ford.
Yeah.
Rob Ford.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love that
That
guy.
guy is amazing.
But no, Chris Christie was the one who had the whole bridge incident.
Right, I remember the whole bridge thing. So the whole other scandal must have come out just at the same time. That's why I got him like.
And by the way, like, had he not had that whole bridge thing come out, I feel like he almost had the presidential election locked up, like, already at that point. Because he was a Republican, but he was aligned with Obama. So he was straight down the middle. I feel like both parties could have got with him and it would have been okay.
I don't think that he would agree with you, and I don't think a lot of people who are aligned with Obama would agree with you on that. But
Why? Why do you think that? He was the Republican on Obama's side.
well, that was only after the what was it, the hurricane that hit,
Yeah, and the hurricane, yeah.
and then also he had like his idol come and he sang with him, and that was just like a honeymoon period for Obama and him. But I mean that only was shortly lived for like a couple of months, and then they were right back at it.
Oh, politics.
Whatever.
Yeah, politics is ridiculous. Anyways, but
Great.
I feel like he was further enough down the middle where he could have made a really substantial run at the White House.
Well, I mean that's also saying that he would get nominated, and it seems like Tea Partiers wouldn't want him nominated, and
there's no
also
chance.
a lot of Republicans that wouldn't want him nominated, and a lot of Democrats that
He's gonna
I
get
guess they don't really have
nominated
a place
now,
in it. What?
He's gonna get
I don't-
nominated now.
I don't think so.
I have no idea if he's going to or not. I just heard recently, actually, just the other day, that he was running. So I don't know how well his.
He's running, but I don't think he has a shot.
Who do you think's the top one then for the Republicans? I mean, I think everybody already says like Hillary Clinton for the Democrats, because that's basically the only one that's
Marco Rubio is going to make a good run for sure.
Rubio. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I feel about him too. I feel like Hillary Clinton is kind of the early leader at this point, but we'll see.
Well, this was the Political Hour with WDWK Podcast. Stay tuned for more podcast.
No, like whenever I see like ads for NPR.
Hold
when I
on,
think
Mark.
about
I'm
television-
trying to stop because I have to go to the bathroom.